Hi, welcome back to the Barrett channel. Welcome to another video. Today this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm either normally doing videos that are opinion videos, giving you my opinion. Not all of you will always agree with that opinion, but it is my opinion. Or we're touring around factories and I'm showing you how things are made. Or thirdly, we're doing sort of various videos in and around different cities in China or different things in China. But as I say, today is going to be a little bit different. So what's this video about? Well, on the 14th of August this year, another YouTube channel called ADV Podcasts, SerpentZA and Laowhy 86 produced a video that made a number of accusations about myself, Ollie, and some of my other YouTube friends. And they told untruths and produced fabricated evidence to support the narrative that they were trying to push. And a lot of the substance in that video was completely untrue. So let me start with a bit of background to this. In December of last year, Alex from Reportify Media decided to go on a holiday with his wife to Chongqing. And during his time in Chongqing, he reached out to an organisation called Chongqing, who are a media organisation whose primary role is to promote the city of Chongqing, both to a domestic and an international audience. And Catherine from Chongqing, nice lady who's absolutely passionate about her city, spoke with Alex, and she was wondering how best to promote her city to an international audience. So Alex sat down with her and they came up with a plan that let's invite some influencers, some foreign influencers who have YouTube channels and other social media channels to be able to promote the city to that international audience. So when Alex returned to Thailand where he lives, he continued to speak with Chongqing Media, and they drew up a plan, and Alex got a project on the go. This was sort of January, February time. However, that project couldn't move forward because of the outbreak of COVID-19. But he contacted various YouTubers who were within China, and basically each one of us got a date and booked a turn to go to Chongqing to make videos about the city. So when it came our time to go on this trip, me and Ollie, so I just want to talk about some of the facts of this. So the facts are that Chongqing paid for our accommodation, we had an allowance for food and snacks, and they also covered some of the cost of us getting to and from various locations when we were in Chongqing. However, they did not pay for our travel to and from Chongqing. Those flights were booked and paid for by ourselves. And I also want to extend this a little because we then returned to Shenzhen, and some other YouTubers went. So after us, I think it was Guelo60, and then Matt from Gio Nation and Alex Absolute went. There are some other YouTubers going there. I think Nico is going, Blondie in China's going to go when she gets back into China. Jerry from This Is China is going. And as I say, Alex Absolute and Matt from Gio Nation were after Guelo. So what happened when Matt from Gio Nation had finished his time there with Chongqing? I'd been speaking to him over a number of months previously, and we'd both realised that we were both interested in going to visit the Three Gorges Dam. So when his time in Chongqing ended with Chongqing Media Group, me and Ollie travelled to meet him in Chongqing, and then we made a plan to go and visit the Three Gorges Dam. And the fact of that is that we paid for ourselves. This was nothing to do with Chongqing at all, so we paid our own accommodation, our own travel, our own food, everything was paid by us. So we travelled from Chongqing to the dam together, and it's about 600 kilometres away from Chongqing, the Three Gorges Dam is. And after that, we returned back to Chongqing, where Matt then flew home, and me and Ollie were due then to fly to Shanghai in 3 days' time. So we decided to spend another 3 days in the city of Chongqing rather than return to Shenzhen and then fly back to Shanghai. It just seemed simpler to stay in Chongqing and then fly to Shanghai from there, which is what we did. Again, our stay in Chongqing and our flights to Shanghai were all covered by ourselves. So now let's talk about the video on ADV Podcast, which was made by SerpentZA and Laowhy 86. They said in their video that we'd all been taken on an all expenses paid government outing to Chongqing in order to deflect from the problems of the flooding in various parts of China. Now that is simply not true. When this project was started way back in sort of January, February time, nobody had any idea these floods were going to exist, and our date, I think we arranged our date sort of back in April or early May time. So again, we had no idea about the floods at that time. Now, the reason SerpentZA and Laowhy 86 say they knew all about this is because they said they'd received an email from Chongqing. Now that is simply just not true. All our communication for this project was done by WeChat, and we communicated with Alex from Reportify Media because he was the one that was in charge of the project on behalf of Chongqing. So no emails were sent. Something else that came to light, about 2 weeks ago, SerpentZA contacted another YouTuber here in China and asked if he'd had an email from Chongqing. I just find that a bit strange that SerpentZA was trying to find out if another YouTuber had an email here in Chongqing. That particular YouTuber was not invited to the Chongqing project, so of course he told SerpentZA he hadn't received an email. In actual fact, nobody had received an email. As I said earlier, all the communication was done by WeChat. So let's look at this email. Myself and Matt actually contacted Chongqing, and they categorically stated that that email had not originated from them. And I think that's pretty easy for them to know that, because they're a relatively small organisation. I think 5, 6 or 7 people, that's all. So it just seems very, very strange. So either SerpentZA and Laowhy 86 concocted this email themselves, or it was sent to them by somebody else pretending to be Chongqing, which seems very, very strange to me. And Chongqing was so concerned about this email that they issued a statement on Twitter, which I'll put on the screen now and you can read that for yourself. But that categorically states that that email did not come from them. So let's have a look at this blatantly fake email and examine some of its contents. So this email says all expenses will be paid. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that is simply untrue. Chongqing did not cover all expenses. Expenses to travel to and from Chongqing were not covered by Chongqing. Secondly, there's another statement in there that says you will need to be careful about talking about certain sensitive issues. Now, Laowhy even makes a remark that, perhaps that was part of the contract. Absolutely not. Again, something else that's completely not true. When myself and Ollie was there, we were at no time asked, or we were at no time told that there were things we couldn't talk about. We were pretty free to roam around and talk about whatever we wanted to talk about. No problem. Now, there are a number of more anomalies in this email. I've covered the main 2, but Matt from Gyo Nation, who is also implicated in their video, he's made a very in-depth analysis of the whole video, or the whole section of the video that pertains to us and himself. And he's done a really deep dive into picking that email apart. I really suggest you go and have a look at that video on his channel. It is a long video, but it's an excellent piece of work, and I really think that you should go and have a look at that if you haven't already. Also in the video, they discuss a number of tweets that Matt from Gyo Nation made on his Twitter account, and then SerpentZA says, oh, but of course he deleted all them, that's his prerogative, and he uses terms like actions speak louder than words. Well, actions do speak louder than words, because Matt didn't delete them. So again, it's something else that is a complete lie. I'll link to Matt's channel, and on Matt's channel you'll see where you can find those tweets, and you can clarify for yourselves that they're actually still there and not being deleted. And just something else while we're on the subject, I think SerpentZA should do a little bit of geography before he starts making videos like this, as he seems to think the Three Gorges Dam is in Chongqing. Well, in fact, it's not in Chongqing, it's some 500 or 600 kilometers away in Hubei province. When we went to the dam from Chongqing, we had to take a 4-hour high-speed train journey to the nearest place called Yicheng, and then we had about a 40-minute car drive before we got to the dam. So I suggest he checks his geography next time. I have no problem whatsoever with people making videos to voice their opinion and tell people about themselves. However, when somebody makes videos that tells blatant lies to try and discredit either Ollie, myself, or my other YouTube friends, I feel I must make a video like this to defend myself against that. And I urge you to go and watch Matt's video on the Gyo Nation channel, because he does a really good job of explaining it in a lot more detail than I do. I'll put a card up here which links to his channel. The video is quite long, it's over an hour long, but it is really well worth watching. Before I go, I just want to leave you with one thought. If SerpentZA and Laowhy86 have told untruths in this video in order to push a narrative that makes other people look like liars, then I urge you to think, how many other videos have they done the same thing in? Anyway, as always, for now, take care.